Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for this webcast today, where we are going to discuss the Microsoft roadmap for 2019-20 for Azure and Power BI. My name is Leighton Fernandes, and I'm joined by my colleague Ayesha. Ayesha and I are business intelligence and analytics consultants at Thorogood, and we've drawn on our Microsoft expertise to bring to you today's presentation. So for today's agenda, I will start with a brief introduction to Thorogood, after which I will take you through some of the recent updates to the Microsoft Azure platform. For those of you interested in Power BI, Ayesha will then take you through some of the demo of some of the new features. And then finally, Ayesha will wrap up with a new Microsoft Azure offering called the AI Builder. A quick introduction to Thorogood. We are an independent specialist business intelligence and analytics service firm focused on customer needs. We are over 30 years old, headquartered out of the UK, with offices in the US, Singapore, Brazil, and India. Our customers typically span four data-rich verticals: consumer goods, pharmaceuticals, health services, banking, and insurance, with experience across the board in a variety of these functions. We are an independent consulting firm, meaning we don't work with one specific technology. We do, however, work and partner with many of the key players across the market. With today's topic focusing on Microsoft, we have put together some of our Microsoft experience. We have been a gold partner for over 15 years and are certified for data and analytics platform. We are also a gold certified cloud platform partner and a Microsoft cloud solution provider, which means we can host applications and services on your behalf in the cloud. So on to the first topic for today, Microsoft Azure. Azure is Microsoft's cloud platform, which offers a variety of services that span the areas of analytics, storage, computing, networking, security, and application development. Cloud-based services like Azure offer many benefits like cost efficiency, reliability, flexibility, security, and convenience when compared to on-premise infrastructure. This next slide shows an example of the Azure services used to deliver a business intelligence and analytics solution. The first area is data sources. This could consist of structured data from ERP systems, databases, files, or semi-structured, unstructured data like audio, web APIs, and Twitter feeds. Data is pulled from these data sources into a storage layer like data lake. Within the data lake, your data may be organized into one or more sub-areas like source and output. Here, data is cleansed and transformed using tools like Azure Databricks. This cleansed data can then be stored and modeled in the semantic layer using tools like Azure SQL DB, Azure SQL Data Warehouse. All the while, the data extraction and orchestration is facilitated using a tool like Azure Data Factory. Finally, the model data can be reported using software like Power BI or extracted for further processing and sharing. Cutting across these areas, collaboration tools like Azure DevOps help facilitate automated testing and easy code production. In today's session, we will touch upon some of the recent Microsoft updates and upcoming features. As seen on the previous slide, Azure Data Factory is a data extraction and orchestration tool that supports a variety of connectors. Over the course of the last few months, Microsoft has implemented a variety of new and useful features to Azure Data Factory. One of the latest additions to Data Factory are new connectors for SAP. This should be beneficial to a large number of organizations that are looking to extract insights from their SAP data. The availability of quick-use templates and sharing of integration runtimes should both help developers save a considerable amount of development time. Other changes include the ability to parameterize a linked service and to copy changes based on last modified file date. Until now, Azure Data Factory has lacked commendable functionality to transform data. The newly introduced Mapping Data Flows changes this. Mapping Data Flows is a cloud-native functionality which adds a graphical data transformation tool to Azure Data Factory. Using this, you can build SSIS transformations like conditional splits, joins, unions, pivots, and many more in Azure Data Factory. With this functionality, you now have the capability to add business logic such as data cleansing, transformation, aggregations, calculations to your data before you store it in a persistent storage layer like SQL database. The data flow execution plan is part of the mapping data flow feature. It shows you the flow of data from the data source to the destination during an execution. The diagram is very readable and contains a lot of useful audit information about the executed data flow. Wrangling data flows is a new feature of Azure Data Factory in limited private preview, which means you would need to sign up to access it. You can sign up at the tinycc URL displayed on the screen, which will redirect you to a Microsoft sign-up form. Using wrangling data flows, you can visually explore and prepare data sets in the Power Query Online mashup editor. You can focus on data modeling and the business logic, while Azure Data Factory does the heavy lifting behind the scenes. Making use of this functionality, you can greatly reduce the time required for data preparation and validation. This feature would greatly benefit data scientists, data engineers, and people who are unable to or who do not enjoy a lot of code. Wrangling data flows is best suited for the preparation and exploration of unknown data sets, while mapping data flows is better suited to the data transformation activity for data sets where the schemas are known. One practice that is quite common for business organizations is to utilize repeat business processes by using repetitive workflows. For this reason, Microsoft Azure now provides support for templates in Azure Data Factory. Templated setups improve developer productivity along with reducing development time for repeat processes. The templates introduced for Azure Data Factory, which you can see in the template gallery, cover a variety of activities for copying data, executing SSIS packages, and for doing common transformation tasks like the mapping data flows, which we saw in some of the previous slides. It is also possible to create your own custom templates for reuse. The next service we will speak about is Azure Databricks. Azure Databricks is a fast, easy, and collaborative service that can be used to prepare and transform data. It is well suited for data engineering, analytics, and machine learning use cases. In 2019, Databricks has made available a new feature called Managed Delta Lake. Delta Lake is an engine built on top of Apache Spark that adds a new storage layer to it. Delta Lake addresses many of the issues faced by data engineers like query performance, data reliability, and system complexity. This functionality enables data scientists to implement near real-time analytics use cases like augmenting Twitter feeds without having to implement complicated streaming logic. Databricks is an independent company founded by the creators of Apache Spark. It has offerings in both Microsoft Azure and Amazon Web Services. We are a Databricks partner, and if you would like to know more about solving analytics and data engineering problems using Databricks, please do get in touch with us. Databricks offers a unified analytics platform driven by the mission to unify data science, data engineering, and business. With managed ML flows, Databricks offers a hosted version of ML flow fully integrated with Databricks security model and interactive workspace. ML Flow is an open source platform for managing the end-to-end machine learning lifecycle. With Managed ML Flow, customers benefit from an optimized auto-scaling Apache Spark-based environment, collaborative workspace, automated machine learning, and end-to-end lifecycle management for machine learning in the cloud. In terms of what to look forward to next, Databricks have mentioned of an aggressive roadmap for ML Flow and are working to release new features like API stability guarantees, better search functionality, and HDFS support. Very often, organizations would need to share data or subsets of data externally. For example, retailers may need to share inventory or price data with suppliers, or manufacturing firms may need to share supply chain data with their third-party logistics partners. Common data sharing approaches would be to use FTP, web-based APIs, or grant external parties direct access to the source systems. These, however, are often limited in functionality, inflexible, require bespoke development, and often their own infrastructure. They also do not provide the security or governance required to meet enterprise standards. To address these challenges, Microsoft has unveiled a new managed service called Azure Data Share. Using Azure Data Share, organizations can share data directly from their Azure Blob Storage and Azure Data Lake. The user interface is quite intuitive and makes for easy setup and sharing of data with a few clicks. Additionally, the snapshot schedule functionality allows for sharing of data based on time schedules. There is a long list of new functionality that has recently been made available for SQL Database and SQL Data Warehouse. While I have listed some here, the two specific ones that I would like to speak about are dynamic data masking and data discovery and classification, both of which are currently in public preview. Dynamic data masking limits sensitive data exposure by masking it to non-privileged users. It helps prevent unauthorized access by enabling customers to specify how much sensitive data to reveal with minimum impact on the application layer. Data discovery and classification introduces a new tool built into SQL Server for discovering, classifying, labeling, and reporting the sensitive data in databases. The classification engine scans your database to identify columns containing potentially sensitive data and applies appropriate classification. The database classification state can then be viewed in a detailed report, which can be used for compliance and auditing purposes. This new functionality is a big step in the direction towards meeting data privacy standards and regulatory compliance requirements such as GDPR. In 2019, Microsoft has introduced a lot of new functionality to the Azure DevOps offering. Azure DevOps offering is a set of services that span the breadth of software development lifecycle and help developers ship software faster with higher quality. Many of our customers have started using Azure DevOps to streamline the development of their business intelligence and analytics solutions. Some of the new features that we thought were interesting are listed here. Of these new features, the ones that I would like to call out are the newly introduced ability to sign into DevOps using GitHub, multi-stage pipelines which offer a unified experience to configuring build and release pipelines. There have been improvements to policy administration for Azure repositories, and instance search has been introduced to Azure boards. Finally, the implementation of a top publisher certification program in the Azure DevOps marketplace helps when searching for Visual Studio extensions. Azure DevOps has also improved in its inbuilt reporting capabilities with the features like build reports and analytical reports. This first snapshot is of a report which displays the summary of the pass rate and duration for the last 14 days. The report also provides insight into which task is contributing to the maximum number of failures. This next report shows the trend of passes and failures. As you can see, on 25th of March, there was a significantly high number of pipeline failures. The lower chart below shows the contributing tasks. Here are some more examples showing burn down and burn up charts of a project team's sprint planning. These reports show the total scope and the story points remaining along with other useful information. And finally, this report provides insight about top failing tests to help improve pipeline reliability. A point to note is that this data is also directly accessible from Power BI to build your own reports. This concludes the first part of our session on Microsoft Azure. I will now hand over to Ayesha to take you through the rest of the presentation and the Power BI demo.
Thanks, Leighton. There have been a lot of updates to Power BI over the past few months, but we have picked some of the features which we thought were most interesting to discuss with you today. We will be going through a few of the reporting and analytics features first, with some quick demos. Then we will be moving on to the data connector improvements, and we will end the Power BI feature updates with data flows. So let us get started with Performance Analyzer and Key Influencers visual. The Performance Analyzer is used to record performance of report elements when users interact with them and which aspects of their performance are most or least resource intensive. The Key Influencers visual is a new visual which is still in preview. It helps you understand the factors that drive a metric you're interested in. It analyzes your data, ranks the factors that matter, and displays them as key influencers. Let us now look at this in a quick demo. To open the Performance Analyzer pane, go to View and click on Performance Analyzer. To have the Performance Analyzer begin recording, simply select Start Recording. Then perform the action. For example, I'm going to be changing a filter selection now. You can now see that in the Performance Analyzer pane that these are the visuals which have gotten affected by the filter change. You can get a breakdown of what contributes for the time taken for a particular visual to be refreshed. This information is useful when perhaps you have a report that users have said takes a long time to refresh, or certain visuals in a report take a long time to display when a slider is adjusted. Maybe you could look to see if the DAX query could be written more efficiently, or in case of visual display, if you're using any web images or geocoding, you could try and see if that can be avoided to improve the report performance. If you want to look at the performance of all the visuals in the report, you can select on refresh visuals and thereby have performance analyzer gather information about all the visuals in your report. You can save the information that performance analyzer creates about a report by selecting the export button. You can also sort the information based on the duration taken for each visual and the action order and so on, thus letting you know which visuals you need to focus on when looking to optimize the report performance. Now moving on to the key influencers. As mentioned, this visual identifies the factors that affect a particular metric. The key influencers visual is a great choice if you want to see which factors affect the metric being analyzed and contrast the relative importance of these factors. In this demo, I have tried to understand what influences the growth classification to be growth, high growth, or decrease. In this case, we can see that growth classification is more likely to decrease when sector is hand moisturizer than body moisturizer. It also says that there is a 1.94 times probability that the subcategory would be Maria Carmen when looking at a decrease in growth classification. A really neat feature they have added is that you can remove all other noise and only focus on the main values which affect the metric. In top segments, you can see Power BI basically groups different factors which affect a metric. This segment is made up of brand family Maria Carmen, size class is not small, and the subcategory is not deodorant, and it forms 50% of the entire data set. You can analyze data further by clicking on the Learn More about this segment, and this shows you a full deep dive which Power BI comes up with looking at your entire data set. Basically, it automates your analysis. Every time you select a filter or other visual on the canvas, the key influencer visual reruns its analysis on the new portion of data. The next feature on our list is drill through across reports. Initially, it was not possible to drill through from one report to another, but now you can easily link up multiple reports with this feature. You can create a page in your report that focuses on a specific entity, such as a supplier, customer, or manufacturer. Users can right-click on a data point in other report pages. Then they can drill through to the focused report to get more granular details that are filtered to that context. The Azure Cost Management Connector is a new connector in Power BI which can connect to Azure and get in-depth data about your organization's Azure service usage. You can create custom reports and measures to better understand, analyze, and optimize your Azure spend. This currently only supports users on the Microsoft Customer Agreement. With shared datasets in Power BI, a single dataset can be used by multiple reports across workspaces. You can either build new reports based on datasets in different workspaces, or you can copy existing reports across workspaces. Organizations will be able to certify datasets that are the authoritative source of critical information. The ability to certify reports can be tightly controlled and documented internally via a new admin control. We will now be discussing Power BI data flows. Power BI data flows help you build ETL operations in the Power BI service using the well-known Excel Power Query interface. This was earlier only possible by importing data into Power BI data sets. All enterprises have multiple disparate data sources of different shapes and sizes. Data flows allow these data sources to be blended easily. You could even merge your own data, say in Excel, with already available data sources. One of the amazing features of data flows is that you can reuse already created data flows and build on top of each other's work. You don't need to do duplicate work for the same transformations. You could also build calculated entities using the compute functionality. Power BI understands the links and refreshes all the connected data flows together whenever needed. Once your data flow is ready, you can create Power BI datasets, reports, and dashboards to help your reporting needs. Data flows are compatible with a common data model as well, so the data stays standard and understood by all applications in the same manner. Power BI can now be integrated with your Azure Data Lake Gen 2 account, and once configured, all the data flows instead of being stored in Power BI workspaces would be stored in the ADLS Gen 2. The usefulness of this feature is that all Azure services can now leverage the data flows created in the Power BI service as well as the data stored by the Azure services. This can now be made part of any of the data flows as well. This two-way channel would reduce redundancy and duplication of data. Now let's talk about the AI Builder capability in the Power Platform. This is a preview feature which was introduced in the Microsoft Business Application Summit this year. AI Builder is a new Power Platform capability that allows you to easily automate processes and predict outcomes to help improve business performance. Using this feature, you can add artificial intelligence to your apps even if you have no coding or data science skills. Now let's look at some key capabilities of AI Builder. The first is binary classification. This uses historical data to predict whether data falls into one of two categories. This model can be used to explore any business question that is answered as one of two available options, such as yes or no, true or false, and pass or fail. For example, in a bank, this could be used to understand if a person can be granted a loan or not. Text classification tags any snippet of text based on historical data provided. It allows tagging of text entries which can be used for sentiment analysis, spam detection, and routing customer requests, just to name a few examples. AI Builder can learn from previously labeled text items and help you to classify unstructured text data stored in common data service into your own business-specific categories. Object detection lets you count, locate, and identify information or items within any image. This can be used to automate business processes in multiple industries. In the retail industry, it can be used to simplify the inventory management, allowing retail leaders to focus on on-site customer relationship building. In the manufacturing industry, technicians can use it to speed up the repair process by looking up the manual for a piece of machinery by taking a picture, even if the UPC or serial number is not visible. Form processing identifies the structure of your documents to extract text from any matching form. Examples might include tax forms or invoices. You can create and consume models that use machine learning technology to identify and extract table data from form documents. You only need 5 form documents to get started. To summarize, AI Builder makes available cognitive and artificial intelligence offerings to everyone by lowering the bar to entry and learning. To create and consume artificial intelligence in business apps and processes. That's all we have time to cover today. Thanks for listening. I know it was quite a lot of information given the limited time we had. Again, thank you all for joining us for the webcast today.